everyone, it's Liam Caddison here, and we're reacting to another episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer as we move on to episode number 14 of this season. Last episode, I would say was intense, but I think even that word is a bit of an understatement given the emotions that Dawn understandably went through in the last episode, as we finally got to that point, that moment that I think a lot of us would have been anticipating ever since we found out that Dawn was the key, that Dawn herself would find out about the fact that she was the key, that the past 14 years of her life has primarily been fabricated and she didn't get to live any of those experiences. They've just been embedded into her. And like I said, the understandable reaction that Dawn had, her breaking down, questioning everything, it just broke your heart. And we even went into some dark territories with her cutting herself. But like I said, it was very, very emotional. And whereas Buffy has kind of quelled that heartache from her, that she is still Summer's blood despite the fact that she's the key. I still hope that there's throughout the episodes, the seasons, that this might still take a toll on her. I think the last episode was that gave the main impact in terms of the emotional toll for Dawn, compared to what we could get in future episodes, because it's still a pretty big thing. It's still something that will dwell on your mind, being created and being this key. It's still going to be there, dawning on your mind, no pun intended. So yeah, but yeah, I just also want to say a huge thank you as well to my moderators, Fiona and Amanda as well, because they've been doing a very, very spectacular job at making sure that the comments have been cleaned up in terms of spoilers or people not so subtly hinting things in regards to what could be implemented for the duration of this season, etc. I know people warned me regarding season 5 that would start to bring out people who aren't so subtle when it comes to hinting things in the future. So I've been hoping that moderator, because the moderator game kind of dropped in terms of season 4, so I was a bit vulnerable there. So coming into season 5, I needed some moderators, and Fiona and Amanda have done a really, really amazing job in making sure that my journey has gone as clean as possible. So I want to say a huge shout out to them too. They're amazing people, and I'm grateful to have them as my moderators. So thank you to the pair of you for doing such an incredible and generous thing for the duration of this season so far. So yeah, with that said, let's delve into this episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer with episode 14 of season 5. Let's go.
Talking to me like we're some kind of talking buddies?
Why not?
Well, I saw you sitting here alone. Thought, I don't know, you could maybe do with a bit of, company.
Making it into very hard work. Listen, Bleach Boy, I don't have a chip in my head. I can do far more damage to you than you can ever do to me.
Yeah?
Uh-oh, someone's feeling a bit threatened.
You could ever hurt me.
Oh, if her and Ben hit things off, especially with what the connection with Ben and Glory, that is so weird.
I wasn't feeling all that safe with you gone. At first. And then I remembered that Rupert was here, and I felt much safer.
Yes, well, thank you for the little backpedal, but I'm forced to agree that I'm barely an adequate substitute for a Slayer in the house.
Oh, but I love how he's looking out. I still have hope for Giles and Joyce.
Well, we could, I don't know, maybe play a game?
Who can shut up the longest?
Oh, I'm gonna stake you. I'm coming after you.
You've got problems, Spike.
And I'm gonna woman who'd never be able to love him back. Also, you can tell it's not gonna have a happy ending when the main guy's all bumpy.
Kind of parallels to Spike, doesn't it? He can't have Buffy.
Test is until tomorrow, right? I don't have an opinion until then.
But you read it, right?
Kinda not. I rented the movie.
Oh.
Oh yeah, because like Harry Potter,
I don't know. Was he one of the singing
All
gargoyles?
source material
Oh,
is
boy.
poured into the movies.
And kid, hell is this? What is she doing here? Just hanging out. Here? Can you please let him
And then
finish the
drugs?
story? Then you could do the lecture. Yeah. Okay.
Is she gonna stay?
Let's hear the story that Spike is telling my little sister. And even if I did have a crush, you wouldn't notice in a million years. Not with you around. What does that mean? Spike's totally into you. Oh, come on. You didn't notice. Buffy.
Damn.
Spike's completely in love with you. Huh? She was hanging out with Spike. I think she has a crush on him.
What?
That's something you want to laugh about, Xander?
Weird fixation with me.
I'm the one she has a crush on. Me.
Oh
nothing
boy,
here.
everyone's just getting
It's
like
always been me. Big funny
done with
Xander.
everyone. Like
Oh, what,
Spike
she
is
suddenly
done with
decided I'm
Ben
not cool anymore?
potentially hitting
Why is
things
that
up.
okay?
Hey!
She's just on cautious alert. She's like shook to the core.
It's not blood, it's bourbon.
Not so it.
Ew.
Suit yourself.
Okay, Buffy.
No, no feelings. Do not develop no feelings.
You can't deny it. There's something between us.
Loathing. Disgust.
Heat, desire.
Oh
Please,
God.
Spike, you're a vampire.
Angel was a vampire.
Angel was good.
I can be too. I've changed, Buffy.
What, that chip
I
in your
mean,
head?
there is no
That's
denying
not
that
change.
Spike's
That's
changed.
just whole know what feelings are.
I damn well do. I lie awake every night.
You sleep during the day.
Yeah, but... I'm missing the point. This is real here. I love...
Don't
Oh.
say it. I'm going.
Who's there?
A happy memory, pretty boy.
True.
Look who's come to make everything right again.
Ah, True. Is Darla with her? True.
Besides, I've got a sweet little setup here in Sunny D.
Can't leave Buffy.
Decent digs. Not to mention all the tasty townies I can eat.
Oh, this is like a triangle. We got Buffy, we got Harmony, we got Drew.
I already know why you're not coming. Poor boy. Tin soldiers put funny little knickknacks in your brain. Can't hunt, can't hurt.
No. Because I am.
Oh. Maybe she has awoken something in.
And there you are, my darling, deadly boy.
This is it, though. Like, Spike's been so lost.
Told you. He
Now
said,
that Buffy's
"I
rejected
love
him,
you." What?
can be steered on a different path.
Well, you made it clear, right? That it could never happen. That there's no possible way, ever.
Yeah. I think so. I don't know. I was
It's
just so thrown.
stuff like that that
Well,
makes me
Buffy,
think
you
they're
have to
going
talk to
to
him again.
have Buffy
What?
go through,
No, I have to avoid him again.
like,
Not
her
until you
own
shut
worst
him down
nightmare.
There's one thing you can do for me while I'm gone.
Oh? Uh-oh. Jesus. Guys, breathe! Well, you're not going to in a minute. Well, yeah, she's definitely not. I think you could really see it on it. Oh, there we go. He's back. Gonna find Harmony, isn't she? Or Harmony's gonna find her, either way. Oh no. Oh, it's... Oh!
I like it when you're all dour and straight to business like.
Oh! 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 Was not expecting that!
Bloody well through playing.
Oh shit!
I love you. You're all I bloody think about.
Those 3 words though.
Dream
Oh.
about. You're in my gut. My throat.
This
I'm
is
drowning
big.
in you, Summers. I'm drowning in you.
Do without the laugh track.
Something. Not to me. Killer, why do I care?
Here's why.
Buffy's own personal feelings though, like she
If you don't
can't
admit-
click.
If there's something there, some tiny feeling for me, then I'll untie Drew and let her kill you instead.
Yes, please. I like that game much more.
Ooh, you could really sense the fear in Drew.
The only chance you had with me was when I was unconscious.
Oh. You can't win.
Bleeding hell is wrong with you bloody women! Everything that was me until all that's left is you in a dead shell. You say you hate it, but you won't leave. You know, what I should just do is get rid of both of you. Burn you, cut you into little pieces.
I mean, she
put
had
me
that
in little bits,
experience
and
with
cut
Angel,
up
so
things.
not again. Ooh! Oh! Shit!
What about I gave and gave? Maybe you'd come around.
Can't blame
Maybe
Harm
be a little nicer.
for that
Stop
betrayal.
treating me like your dog. But now I see it's you. You're the dog who needs to be put.
Ooh.
Ow! You're throwing my hair.
Yeah, only Xander can do that. Buff! I'm loving this! Ooh!
Even I can't help you now.
Nope.
Oh, Spiky.
Bye, Drew.
I'll probably just, back away.
You do that, Harmony. You do that. And you do that. Oh, into the shrine as well.
Buffy, it's not pretty, but it's real, and there's nothing either one of us can do about it. Like it or not, I'm in your life. You can't just shut me out.
Oh, so that's what... Yes! That's what she wanted done. It's harsh, but, sometimes... That's it. Like... If one... with love, it's a mutual thing. If Buffy's not feeling it, then she's not feeling it. And, maybe Spike does see something in in terms of Buffy and her feelings. And there's this whole... Especially since it's not long coming off the whole Riley situation. So maybe... And this is the thing. We have to remember that Spike is insightful. He's a very, very insightful character. He knows people and can get a good read on them. At the same time, love can make us a bit foolish as well. He's a fool for love. So it's really hard to put a marker on if Spike does actually see something in terms of Buffy, and she's just trying to trying to mask her own feelings, but Spike's too perceptive of that. Or if he's just so desperate because, he's desperate for the Slayer, and thus he's a fool for love. So it's quite the predicament that, his character is in. But that's the thing with love as well. At the end of the day, you have to have a mutual connection. I mean, you can't keep trying to chase people and expect them to change based on your fixation. But I don't know. There's a huge part of me that makes me think that they are going to go that way one day. Spike and Buffy potentially. it seems like they are, like, with some of the dialogue, it seems like they are trying to establish things like, oh, this is never going to happen, not in the wildest dreams ever. It's kind of like Buffy's jinxing herself. So we'll see what happens, but this was great, and it was great to have Drew back as well, so woo. But yeah, that was something. That was it was a really good episode in terms of finally reaching that point where Buffy finds out regarding Spike's affection for her. And it's just so interesting, because I think like, at the minute, there is no chance that Spike can win over Buffy. I mean, that final scene clearly was clearly a good indication of that. But like, with the actions that Spike did over the course of this episode, there was no way that Buffy was gonna be like, oh, you know what, I love you too, William. So yeah. See, this is the problem with Spike. He's been going at it the wrong way, like, all season, if anything, because, like, we have to remember when Riley caught him, like, well, sniffing Buffy's clothes, and not just that, though, but how he keeps stalking her, and in this episode, the shrine, and, of course, allowing Buffy to get tasered, etc., and the way he went off against Buffy, because she didn't respond the way he wanted her to respond to I love you. It just has all the makings, everything that's gone on. Like, yeah, he might have these feelings, but he's not going about it the wrong way. There's a selfishness towards him, in regards to the way he's going about this. And, you know, like I said, maybe he is, because there's no disregarding about the fact that that he is insightful. He is that's one of his perks as a character. He's an insightful character. So there, to some argument, you could suggest maybe he does see something in Buffy, and Buffy's trying to repress any kind of affection, especially since it's coming off from the breakup with Riley. But he's trying to make it out as if it's fact. He isn't sure himself. He can only, if anything, he is so adamant on Buffy saying that, okay, I have feelings for you too. He's wanting that. He is not like, if anything, I feel like he's more in the direction of a fool for love than the insightful Spike that we've seen time and time again, because he is so desperate, and he's going the wrong way about it in trying to prove his affection for Buffy. And, you know, there's no denying that he's developed as a character. Like, he is not for me, he's not a protagonist, but he's also not an antagonist. He does have that, like, passiveness, but he can still be very, very reckless. He is still dangerous in some degree. But I wouldn't go as far to say he's an antagonist. So, although there was a moment where, like, when Drew and Spike, when they feasted off that couple, I was thinking, okay, are we going to get the return of the Spike of old, since Buffy rejected him, and Drew was, like, trying to lead him back into the old life, the dangerous and antagonistic Spike that we were first acquainted with, because that was her goal. She was trying to reunite the team that we saw in Fall for Love, with Darla, herself, Angelus, and Spike. So that was her objective, to rope Spike along, but that obviously didn't work. So yeah, but yeah, I honestly feel like Spike has developed as a character. I mean, he's not a character who is like good. He's not a character who does these noble acts, etc. He still does pretty selfish things. But, like I said, this is what I'm saying. He's not a protagonist, but he's not an antagonist at the end of the day as well. But there are like traces of his personality that are springing to the surface, traces of the poet that he was before Darla sired him. So those are cropping to the surface, because that's the thing, like, he's still a fool for love. And I think that is taking over his mentality. He's not being insightful regarding Buffy's repression, that, oh, I know you feel it too. That's not an insight for me. Even though he's an insightful character, he like I said, I feel like he is basing this on his own desperation, that he wants Buffy to say the things he wants to hear, but she's not having any of it. So, yeah. And I really like the fact that this was a good episode to focus on feelings getting blown out, in terms of, because it's been a long time we've been building towards this, and so Buffy now finally finding out. This was really, really good, as well as the fact that we had Drusilla return in this episode, and the whole Harmony situation, which I do hope that Harmony doesn't come running back to Spike. I'm hoping this is the final straw, because I do feel so bad for her. Like, it's funny because I feel like her and Spike's relationship is mirroring Spike's feelings for Buffy, because you have one person who is not totally interested and the other person is so desperate they are literally begging for the other person to notice them. And that's the same case with Spike and Buffy. He is begging for Buffy to come out with those words, I love you too. He's like, Buffy's not interested, but Spike is so fixated on the fact that he is so fixated on Buffy, and he's so desperate for Buffy to show him that affection he is dreaming of. So I really like the idea that those stories kind of parallel, but I do hope that this is the end for good for Harmony and Spike, because I do feel so bad for Harmony. Like, she is trying, and Spike's just having none of it. So yeah, and it wasn't like that relationship was totally healthy whatsoever. So yeah, and that makes me worried regarding, like, if Spike and, well, that's the thing, like, unless, but I feel like like something big needs to happen in terms of, like, if Buffy's ever going to have feelings for Spike. Because this is the problem, like, he is going, like, there are some deranged and twisted ways that Spike is portraying, and yet he is hoping that, like, you do feel so bad for Spike as well. Like, I feel like, especially when the door was slammed in his face, like, you could see the heartache, and there was, like, that struggle to drink the blood from the girl that Drew killed. So I think James did some really, really amazing acting in this episode, and there was some really nice emotions that he portrayed on his face. So yeah, your heart does kind of break a bit there, but at the end of the day, there is that, like, disturbing nature from him. And you do, like, it's a good job that Buffy is realizing, I can't, like, yeah, he might have these feelings for me, but he's still a dangerous and disturbing man. So it's going to take a lot. He's going to have to go through a natural change of pace. He can't just say, I'm good, and do all of this disturbing things. He has to earn it. You have to earn your right into Buffy's heart. And that's the problem with Spike. He is so desperate, but that's it. He is so desperate, and he is still doing all of these disturbing, negative things that is not going to get Buffy to love you. You have to honestly earn it. And it's a bit of a hassle when you haven't got a soul. But at the end of the day, he is still exhibiting those. It's going to be a real test of character. Like, it's going to be a real test. Like, can a vampire be naturally good and have genuine heart without a soul? And I don't think it's possible. So either he's going to have to get himself a soul, or it's going to be a real test. And I like the latter option. Like, maybe there is one exception, and that's Spike. Like, he can have no soul, but at the end of it, because, like, there are sprinkles of his personality there that's cropping out, but he's just not going in the right way about this, is he? If anything, he's screwing himself over more and more. The more he is so desperate in trying to have Buffy see that he loves him, he is screwing himself more and more and more. So they just kept adding up in this episode, especially with the shrine, which I thought was symbolic. Like, Buffy, that was the final straw, if anything, wasn't it? And that was symbolic. The final straw, the shrine gets broken. And I really like how that's a parallel to Angel and Darla, because you had a few drawings there, and we know that Spike is obsessed with Buffy. And that's the same thing that Angel was going through with Darla earlier in the season of Angel. He is obsessed with Darla, and there are lots of drawings. Not as... Well, no, Spike didn't do as much as Angel, but you never know, because he could have a backup shrine or whatever, given his obsessive nature. So, yeah, but, it's not going to happen unless a miracle happens. But at the same time, I can't help but think they are, like, slowly but surely setting things up with some of the things that were, like, especially the discussion when Buffy told Joyce and Dawn regarding what Spike said. I couldn't help but feel like maybe they are setting things up, but at the same time, you just can't help but think there's going to be a miracle that is going to have to take place in order for this feeling to be mutual, because at the minute, Spike is not doing himself any favors. Like I said, he is acting on selfishness, and like, you do feel a bit for him, like when the door gets slammed on his face, but that's it. He has to do he has to strip away the selfishness and replace it with genuine affection. There is still a lot of selfish areas that Spike needs to clean up before, like, a mutual feeling can be reciprocated. So, yeah. And I did like the idea that we intertwined Dawn's feelings for Spike in there, and that was the catalyst for Buffy finding out that Spike has a crush on her. Her reaction was just priceless, because it's just I think Buffy's reaction is pretty accurate. Like, it's, like, especially with, like, someone, like, if you've not been too pleased with a person for quite some time, and then you find out this person has a crush on you, it's like, yeah, you're just stunned. So, yeah, but I also like the idea that Spike and Dawn, their connectivity carried over into this episode, because, we had sprinkles of the cons of Dawn knowing herself to be the key. Spike is treating her fairly, and not just that though, but with Spike wanting to have this have Buffy love him. He is getting on good terms with the family. I mean, he was even palling it up with Joyce again in this episode. So, yeah, I really like the connectivity of Dawn and Spike progressing from the last episode when he was instrumental in Dawn finding out about herself. So I really, really liked that. Yeah, it was just really good, this episode, in terms of, like, focusing and finally elaborating on those feelings that Spike has for Buffy. And like I said, I think this episode was a good indication on showing that Spike needs a miracle. Like, there's still a lot of negative things that he's done. There's still a lot of shady areas that he has committed in terms of trying to prove that to Buffy that he loves her, but he's going about it the wrong way. Like I said, there's, like, been ideas scattered throughout the season, like him stalking Buffy, for example, etc. And it's going to take a miracle for Spike to... disregard the negative traits and prove to Buffy that his character has genuine care. It's gonna be a miracle considering he doesn't have a soul. So, he's still acting completely out of selfishness, and I feel like Spike's this is gonna be the perfect time for Spike to have a complete rethink regarding what he is like. Well, not just his feelings for Buffy, and maybe he needs to dispense them, he needs to discard it, should I say, but also regarding himself, because he's not in the right place, so he needs a good reevaluation, and I feel like Buffy's literally closing the door in his face is going to be a perfect opportunity for him to have a sit down and think about things. So that's where I feel like things are going to be going from here on out. But it was just really, really, it was just a really good episode to focus on Spike and his feelings, and to have Drew return, and how she was pretty much instrumental in this whole situation. I've missed her. She's a very, very fascinating character, and it should be very, very interesting to see how things go. How much is this going to be a fixation on, with Buffy closing the door on Spike's face, you'd think that, okay, well, that's it. Buffy is done with this whole drama regarding Spike having feelings, because she said, don't come in my life ever again. But is there going to be some after effects on Buffy's mind? Who knows? Because there's also Ben, and, Spike was a bit jealous. Like I said, the ship would be weird with, you'd think it's weird with Buffy and Spike, but it would be weird regarding the fact that there is that idea that Ben and Glory are the same person, but they could be siblings. Yeah, it's a weird concept, because you're fighting against the enemy and you could be in love with the enemy. It's a weird dilemma. So, but Buffy could be, that's the situation with Spike. I mean, you're fighting the enemy, but with Spike, he wants the enemy to love him. So, yeah, relationships on this show, it's just but yeah, this was a great episode, and it's going to be exciting to see where things go from here. So yeah, I will see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. You can check my videos on the right if you want to check out more of my content. You can also subscribe to my media feeds and channel if you want to. Hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. Hope you guys take care, and I will see you guys next time. Toodles!